The first beginner's checkmate is known as fool's mate, because if you fall for it, you are a fool. It's only a 2-move checkmate. It starts off with f3, e5, g4, queen h4, and yes, that is checkmate. The king cannot go anywhere. If you are new to chess, it is very important that you know this 2-move checkmate, so that you never fall for it yourself. It can also happen with the black pieces as well. For example, if white plays e4, f6, d4, g5, queen h5 is checkmate. To first understand scholar's mate, we need to look at the opening position on the chessboard and the way each pawn is protected. I have drawn arrows from each of the pieces to show this. As we can see from the arrows, all the pawns are protected by pieces except for the f7 and f2 pawn, which are only protected by the king. From this we can deduce that the f7 and f2 pawns are the weakest 2 pawns on the board and the most vulnerable to attack. Also, by threatening the f-pawns, we are attacking the only piece which is protecting it, the king, the most important piece on the board. Once we deliver a successful attack against the king, the game is over. I think that's the reason why Scholar's Mate is used in so many beginners' games, because it's simple, barbaric, and brutal. If the beginner does not know what to do, they are in a lot of trouble. Scholar's Mate starts off with e4, e5, and now bishop c4, straight away attacking the f7 pawn, targeting the weakest pawn on the board. If black plays a limp move like d6, white crashes in with queen h5, and now I have a double attack on the f7 pawn. Then after a move like say knight f6, queen takes f7 is checkmate, and that is Scholar's Mate. It is so simple, yet so many people fall for it. Scholar's Mate can occur in many different ways. For instance, e4, e5, bishop c4, knight c6, queen f3 attacking f7, and say a move like d6, queen takes f7 is again checkmate. I think the reason why so many beginners fall for Scholar's Mate is because there are so many different variations. For instance here, after bishop c4, bishop c5, queen h5, the f7 pawn is again attacked. Black thinks g6 will solve this problem, but misses queen takes e5 check, where black loses the h8 rook. However, like many problems in life, there is a simple solution. There is a way to defend both the e5 square and the f7 square, and that is with queen e7. Such a simple move saves the day for black, and this is what many beginners miss. Once this move is played, white's plan of hit and hope is well and truly scuppered. In a previous variation where queen h3 was played, this can easily be parried with knight to f6, which cuts off the queen. But also another powerful move for black is simply getting their own queen out with queen f6, again protecting the f7 pawn. To summarise, the best way to defend against white getting his queen out early and trying Scholar's Mate on you is to simply get your own queen out and protect the f7 pawn. This will leave your opponent scratching their head and give you the psychological edge. Here I'm going to show you a tactic that involves the f-pawn and can come up quite a lot in your games. The opening is fairly standard, but black's bishop on g4 is unprotected and key to this tactic. White plays bishop c4, eyeing up the f7 pawn, which I place a nice green square. After the move c5, white's threat is now ready. The g4 bishop is unprotected, and white crashes in with knight takes e5. And no, that is not a mistake. White deliberately puts his queen on pre, tempting black to take the queen on d1. I've played a number of people who've fallen for this trap, and it certainly is a delicious checkmate. After bishop takes d1, bishop takes f7 check, black is forced to play king e7, and now the pièce de résistance, knight d5 checkmate. Black is trapped in a bubble of knights and bishops. Black may have the queen, but white has delivered checkmate. Thank you for watching my video, and I hope these little demonstrations help with your chess games.